Who are we gonna idolize today? Who are we gonna judge and hate today? All one nation under God. They don't define their God, and that's how they get away with their trickery. Right now, there's some people at home going, I'm not sure if he just went crazy or he's being dead serious. I think he's dead serious. No, I hear exactly what he's saying.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Jim Brewer.
Hey, this is Jim Brewer.
Wow, looking good, Mr. Mike. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. And you're still sounding great.
That's a good thing. I'm glad I sound great. Thank God. So, I'm really tired today, but let me tell you why. So, basically, go to jimbrewer.com for all tour dates and stuff like that. But I have the True Brew Weekend in Sarasota coming out, where the Patreon VIP members, there's certain members that have been around a long time, and we're going on a little sunset cruise, and then the weekend starts Saturday where there's shows, there's podcast live, we're streaming live, but we have a rooftop party, a silent disco, food trucks, Sunday, another whole talk, and it's pretty much sold out. I'm not sure if there's any tickets left to be, and I'm just saying that. So I went to Sarasota to do promotion on a local TV network, which was hilarious. That's another whole, I haven't done one of those in a long time. I'm usually following either a dog show or someone that's sick. Morning TV is a lot of cooking, someone's sick, or dogs. That's usually it, and weather. But last night I checked in. It was me and my daughter. I don't want to say the name of the hotel. I've been staying there for years, 20, 25 years in Sarasota. So we check in, and about 11:15 p.m., the door knocks, and the guy says, security. Which I thought, all right, well, we were talking, but we weren't very loud. I'm very, very aware of how loud I am when I'm in a hotel and stuff like that. I look through the peephole. There's a guy there. Maybe security. I'm like, all right. So he's, what's his deal? Some banana called and said we were talking past 10:30, 11 o'clock. But there was also part of me that was like, I don't know. And I went with my instinct. And most of you would say you shouldn't even open the door. But I did open the door maybe an inch. I had my foot behind the door. So if they try to shove it, I had my hand and my foot placed against the door. So I opened it up, and I immediately saw the guy had no credentials. He was holding something. I don't know what he was holding. He was holding something. And I just looked down, and it was a split second. I went, no, boom. And the no was, you're not safe. It wasn't like, no, you can't talk to me. It was no. It was a, you're not safe, no. And I immediately said to my daughter, call 911, and I'm getting my gun. That's what I said. And the guy took off. As I was shutting the door, he took off. I called the front desk, like, did you guys send anyone security up here? And they went, no. But all right, well, I just had someone at my door. And then they sent someone out, and the cops came. And they're going through footage, but naturally I went with my daughter. So even without my daughter, I'm a little freaked out. Like, was I targeted? And then I went, no, I seriously think not, because no one knew I was staying there. No one knew I was even going to be staying in that city. Then we checked into another hotel. We took the little mini refrigerator, and we pushed it against the door. And I've got all these traps on the door, and it has, if someone tries to open it, I have bells, and this will fall to make a noise and all these things. And she's like, I'm sleeping with the lights on. So I slept with the lights on. So I'm a little tired today. Not freaked out, but yeah, it was a little excitement in the Jim Brewer world. I didn't I never had that before. It was a little weird. It was definitely an awakening experience, which is now normally I have big bags under my eyes, and today I got big bags under my eyes. I got a lot of I'm planning on like family day things, and I'm planning on the musical thing. We got to do these Serpents of Humanity and all that. We finally hired a professional producer who's now part of the show. And you can email us here for segments you'd like to see, and besides or guest. And she's going to be our new helper and producer. And she's already super. We had great conversations. We have Margot. What's up, Margot?
Hello. Thank you for that lovely intro.
Wow, you got a nice setup too.
Oh, thank. I mean, this is just. Well, I have a podcast also, so I have this. And it's just good
Well,
for.
how can we listen to your podcast? What's your podcast? I didn't even know this.
It's called Death by Southwest.
You
so
did tell me this. Death
Yeah.
by
Mhm.
Southwest. And what is Death by Southwest?
It's a true crime podcast I do with my sister. We cover like murders in the Southwest.
Oh, wow. That's like heavy stuff. That sounds
Heavy
I'm gonna have
stuff,
to
but
check
like
that
with
out.
cocktails, a little bit. We try to keep it not too dark.
So I'm excited about our new adventure. I
Me
have,
too.
and I love that you've been super responsive with my erratic text and or messages. And there's gonna be a lot of that. Sometimes I get an idea and I call you out of the blue, out of nowhere.
Totally okay.
And I
No
love how you're
problem.
just like, yeah, we could do this. Oh my God, this is great. Oh my God, this is gonna be awesome. So
It is. You have good
now
ideas. I'm
are
excited.
you on our website too with the
It's just Margot at thebruniverse.com.
okay, cool.
RGOT. Maybe Mike can like put it up at the bottom. or
Okay,
something.
and I'm apologizing now for
Okay.
putting it on there, and I'm gonna tell people if you want certain guests, talk to
No,
Margot. If
okay.
you wanna if you
my
want
job.
certain okay, all right. This
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm excited.
I think we're gonna have a I think this has been really good. And then even when we're done with today, I already got a bunch of more stuff and ideas. Like I was telling you about the whole family day, the whole musical concept too, how we did that's the first thing we got to jump into is the Serpents of
Agreed.
Humanity, how we start rolling those songs out or how that competition. I don't want all of you that created all that to think like, well, that was a waste of time. I promise you we're going to get into all that. So
We're getting to it. We're getting to it.
I love it. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you. I'm not going to keep you long.
Thank you.
And then we're going to jump into Tom. I just want everyone to meet you. I'm excited to have you around. I really am.
Thank
I have
you.
my
Thank you.
shoulders came down so much more knowing I can turn to you, Margot. So
If you need anything, absolutely.
all right, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Margot.
Okay.
The
Bye.
great Margot, everybody. All right, so with that, we're going to continue in the show. I think you're going to enjoy this interview. And the reason why I had him was, yes, I loved when I burnt the snot out of myself, and I told Mike burnt himself, and I told him to try the Through the Earth. It's a clear aloe. And he turned around and he gave an incredible sponsorship for the True Brew Weekend and then some. And I like to, it's part of like, let's get to know who runs these companies.
It's time for Who Runs These Companies with Jim Brewer.
Now, again, like I said, at first he goes into sales pitch mode, which is natural. But then we start really getting a conversation. And then from there, we go in an incredible direction. I think you're going to enjoy it. So enjoy the rest of Bruniverse. I'll take it away with Mr. Tom McCurry Jr. of Through the Earth. Check it out. Now I have the CEO of the brand, which is called Through the Earth, Mr. Tommy. Did I say this right, Tommy, if I say McCurry?
Tom McCurry Jr., yep. Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
And I am the president. I unfortunately not the CEO. We've got a very
You're El
talented
Presidente.
El Presidente, yeah.
My
El
highest
Presidente.
apologies.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
It's all family here, so we're good. We're good, man.
So you were about to tell me a story right before we started, and what were you gonna say? Now you heard about this burn, right?
We've got the Jim Brewer calling this a miracle product. But
Right.
here's it's not all the time that I get to speak.
But it was, man. It was. You saved my life. Good God, I had no clue too that you've been around a while, like you were a family. So our friend Katie got into this, who's running the True Brew weekend. She's like, "Oh, he's the greatest. It's a wonderful family." She got all jacked up, and she's like, "I talked to it. They're amazing. You're gonna love them." So, how did this whole company come about? Like, how old are you when this goes down? This whole product and all that.
So
Like, you were doing other stuff. Like, I'm a comedian, and in my life, I started around 16 going, "Hey, this is what I want to do." And then the next thing you know, I was watching comedy. I was studying comedy. And then the next thing you know, I just jumped into it. And it took forever, but I'm always fascinated, like people that start their own companies or family business. Cause I know people who the family started and then the kids take over. And then that's a deciding point too. Is it, how'd your thing all come about?
Well, the company's about 43 years old. And
Wow. Okay.
So my father, Tom McCurry Sr., was kind of a who's who in the personal care industry. And it just so happens he bought into or ended up getting some ownership in a company that he and his partner sold to the Menon company. Remember that speed stick?
By Menon.
You got it.
All right, so this is already, you're like the Rockefellers already. You're in it. You're planted. Like, you don't know, people going, you don't know who that is. A table number. See the table in the corner? You don't know who that is? By Menon. All right.
Maybe not the Rockefellers, but I do have a forklift license. Okay, so I can drive a forklift. Just we'll put it all in perspective here. So I ain't no wannabe, 'cause all I wanna be is me.
Okay, go ahead.
But we've had a great legacy. He's been in the personal care, skincare business. Started Fruit of the Earth when I was a senior at Baylor. That's where I met my bride, and all my kids went there. But that's I'm 64 years old, and now you're supposed to go. There's no way you're 64.
All right, let's do that again. Let's do that again, Tom. How old are you, Tom?
I'm 64.
What?
Yeah.
You're not.
No, I know. Yes.
You're 64.
Yes. And I think that this beautiful aloe vera gel right here.
So your dad was, what was your dad when he grew up?
So he had my dad, my mom, and he had a partner that were the original owners of the company back in 1980 is when they started it. So we started out with the aloe vera company. I mean, really and truly, it was just aloe vera products. Growing up, my father used to take me to some of the trade shows with him. He's kind of the who's who in the business world back in the day, right?
So he's bringing you.
Yeah, my dad today is 86. He's unfortunately suffering from Alzheimer's, and that's a tough.
Is he who's taking care of him?
We have full-time care. And my mom she is now here. She's working with the company. She's actually our CEO right now. So
mom is.
Yeah, but
So you're. When did? Oh God, this is so much. There's so much to dip into here. So. Your dad's bringing the trade shoes. Yeah, your dad's bringing you to the trade shoes.
Yeah, I mean, so it's something. Growing up, I've always felt like I wanted to go into business. I just fascinate. I love people, love working with people, and the opportunity came up my senior year at Baylor. They were starting up this company, and Dad called me up and said, "Hey, would you mind going in to see this retailer in Waco, and see if you can't sell some of these products?" So I didn't know anything about selling. other than what I was
Right.
reserving the shows. Went to call this guy, and they put him in. You know, it was a $1,500 order. Back in those days, it might have been a $10 million order. I just couldn't believe it. You know, that was more than my tuition at the time. You know, so
Yeah. And how old are you now at that time?
my dad,
No,
my
how
dad,
old are you? Yeah, when he's like, I need you to sell this thing. How old are you?
yeah. I mean, I was in college. I was, you know,
God,
20, 19, something like that.
that's a tipping point. That's when you feel it.
Yeah, yeah, you know, but here's the thing too. And it's really, and I know that when you look at your career path and you see all the things that have happened, for me, it's, you know, you keep your head down, you're plowing hard, and then you stop for a breath, and you turn around and you look at this wake that's behind you, and it's like, Lord, did we really accomplish all of that?
What I think is even cooler is that you got to have that connection with your dad.
Yeah.
And you get your kid there. Like, you know how many people don't, first of all, you know how many people they don't want to be around their father? The fact that he wants to is another whole, it says a lot about you and your whole family that you guys stay connected. And, you know, it's not easy, but to be able to pull that off and have a company and keep it running and keep your name going is, it's a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah. Well, Jim, I appreciate that, but the reality of it is with me, and I mean this, my son, it's like with my kids. You know, if I was at his age, half the man that he is today, I'd have been a better dad and better father. And I attribute anything good or anything successful that has happened in my presence. It's because of the Lord. It really is.
I feel that we're in the times where, and I would tell this what I ask this question all the time. Like, if you're Christian, I'll ask, do you trust that he has his hands on everything? Right. And
Mhm.
so that's what, I've had people say, my dad died and the only bummer is he didn't find the Lord. And I'll go, how do you know that? Well, I know before he died, I said, but you don't know that. You don't know what his last breath was. You don't know what happened in the last moment. It could have been stuck in, like, you don't know. So don't dwell on that. And I'm also a big believer in, like, it's time to walk the walk. You know, there's if we say, hey, we label ourselves whatever we label ourselves, then you're asking to be judged.
Mhm.
You understand? So,
Yep.
like, I'll take it for instance. I've seen in my family where someone will say, hey man, they make it very known that's what they are. But they'll leave a trail of destruction. They judge this one, and well, that one's not Christian, and that, and I go, you got all these eyes on you, and you keep saying that, but you're judging here, you're holding on to anger here, and you're holding on to anger there. So I go, and again, I will call it the great deceiver, whether it's the devil or whatever. He did a number on destroying the imagery of what we feel is, Christ or God. There's images for everything. And I always wondered, what was that image before they were put in front of us? So with that said, I feel we're in the times where we can't say it's this way or no way. We're in the times where we can teach what should be done, whether it's from that way, right?
Mhm.
But one of the greatest things I ever heard in my life was the entire world can be changed for the better of all humanity as long as you don't give a damn who gets the credit. And that's a powerful statement, because in my head too, like, let's say Jesus knows everything, right? God knows all. And I always say, before we started this, I'm like, hey man, I just want to be a vessel. Don't let it be about me. Don't let it be about Tom. Let it be
Right.
about however you want it to flow through us, however you want it, the message to be heard, however people can be touched and they can grow and we can continue to all grow. And that's the way that I do it. So I'm a believer in, if we feel that's where it comes from, we also have to know sometimes our audience and our student, I'll say our pupil, our student. I can't go up to a Jewish guy and be like, unless you go to, telling you right now, like, and it does, it works for you, works for me, but I feel we're in times where we got to be very careful and tender and loving how we try to show others love and respect, or what you would say through Christ.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That was kind of heavy, but I feel we're very desperate at those moments in time.
We are, and I couldn't agree with you more. You know what? I am the last one to judge. I have a rap.
And I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying you do, but I do. Tom, let me tell you something. I'll be the first to admit, I don't pretend I'm perfect at all. I'll touch lives and all that, but I ain't. Listen, let's be honest. We all have really bad parts of us, whatever that is. Whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, that's that sin, right? The thing is, there's a lot of people that have different views, opposing views. Our country is becoming more and more anti-God. It feels like, all the things that they're doing. So what do we do?
Becoming?
Yeah, right.
Becoming?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It never was. I mean, it was for like an hour. Our country, I always laugh when they would say, one nation under God. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at our dollar bill. Let's take a look at what's on television. Power, ego, money, lust, vanity, self-righteousness. It's like... one nation. Here's the trickery of that. Here's the trickery, in my opinion, the trickery when they say one nation under God. They don't say what the God is. And that's how they get away with that. So if they go, we are one nation under God, they're not saying under the love of Christ. They're not saying the love of man. They're saying God, and their God could be, which clearly it is. They don't even try to hide it.
No, you're spot on. I agree.
Hey, let's bring on our new star. Shake that ass. Speak violence. Shoot some guns. Who are we gonna idolize today? Who are we gonna judge and hate today? All one nation under God. They don't define their God, and that's how they get away with their trickery.
Yeah.
Trickery, illusion. Right now, there's some people at home going, I'm not sure if he just went crazy or he's being dead serious. I think he's dead serious. No, I hear exactly what he's saying. Illusions, one nation under God. So I hear you, Tom, loud and clear. And you know what I do praise, to be dead honest with you? And some people will not like what you say. And they have a right to say that, but they also have to respect of that's what drives you. And that's what drives many people. I saw what I respect is finally people are sticking up for themselves. Where that was muted for a long time. Or you started to be a freak, or you started to be whatever. It is time where, the old country songs used to say, what song did I just hear? Maybe this country boy will survive. It's like, we read a Bible, and then if you don't like it, we don't give a damn. I don't know the exact lyrics, but I'm like, wow. That there was a time where people go, whoa, that's pretty, that's rebellious, or that's pretty extreme. But to compare that type of extreme to the sexuality, the demonization on our youth, the pushing to absolutely murder one another to go to war without even having a question about it. Those are very demonic, evil acts. So it's funny how one side will start exploiting the other, but they keep up this illusion. One nation under war and lust and take your money. And it's nice to see that people are putting their foot down and going, you may not agree, but I come from a God-driven place, a holy God, whether it's Jesus. Clearly, Jesus. Let's say clearly Jesus wasn't a. He wasn't a. You won't get. He wasn't a jerk. He may be the only not. Let's say Jesus doesn't exist. This is what I tell people too. Let's say he doesn't exist. Okay. Let's say like I can't believe that this didn't exist. Well then, can't you just go by the motto? The motto's easy. I mean, call whatever you want. Call whatever you want. Don't judge your neighbor. Respect that. Love one another. Treat yous the way. I mean, it's so simple. Anyway, I'm going off on ranting, Tom, but this is the these are the things that is going to start bringing people together. I really believe that.
You know, and I appreciate. I love when you go off. Thank you. That was
Yeah,
good.
no, my apology, but I you don't understand. It's sometimes it's very spooky for me to do that, and I thank you. Because of this, I was able to go in those directions where I think these are the times people just need to hear it, whether you believe it, whether you don't believe it, whether you want to fight it or debate it. We're done with all that. Haven't we all seen enough?
Jim,
Like,
people are
we're
searching.
done.
Everything you described, people are searching. They're searching for something that's going to satisfy, right?
Yes.
And you know, you and me too. I'm involved with a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life, from a lot of different values, and many of them are very different from my own and from your own. But what are we to do? We're to love them. The Bible tells us that we are to love our neighbor, regardless of what their views are. We're to love them anyway. I like.
It's not easy though.
It isn't easy. It isn't easy.
That dog drops a deuce on your lawn, Tom.
I've got very close people to me that sometimes I have to just say, God, I can't love them right now. You're going to have to give me your love for them, or I may start a prison ministry from the inside out kind of thing, you know?
If that dog keeps dropping a deuce on my lawn, I'm having a hard time loving this neighbor. I'm having a hard. If your dog does that one more time.
Hey, we've got guns here too, you know. So that's right. But it is that. And I appreciate you. I mean, just asking, because you know what it is. I respect people's views and all. We do. We have to. We love that. And hopefully, maybe, just maybe, there's something that people see in Jim, or that maybe they see in me, that may be different from what they're experiencing, and they want to know what the reason is or what the cause is. I heard it said one time, share the gospel with somebody, and if you have to, use words. That's that walk the talk that you were talking about.
You gotta walk the walk, talk the talk.
Yeah, there.
And that's it, and I tell everyone, and I never show any qualms. I personally, not a church guy. Can't stand church. Can't stand it. Now, that doesn't mean it's wrong or whatever. It just means me, Jim Brewer, can't do. I walk in and I meet like I can't do this. I can't. So, and I will say to you too, and I do see where people get turned off, and this is one of the issues too, where I have to start piss people off. But it's time to be honest. The minute that guy starts asking for money, I immediately, because to me, it's like the air, our water, our lives, knowledge to give one another, and any spiritual God knowledge, Jesus is it's free offering. It's free offering. I don't want to hear you need to build a new wing. I don't want to hear we need a new back driveway because our church is too busy and it's clogging up traffic. So
Yeah.
you need some cash. I don't want to hear we need to help Ukraine. I don't want to hear a lot of things that come up, and those are major, to me, those are major issues with the church today. And it's that's, by the way, Tom and I'm not gonna lie to you, I had no clue I was going this direction. When I say zero clue, Tom didn't expect this. I did not expect this. On my life, I have no clue how we got here, but we're here. So this is a great conversation. So yeah,
It is pretty organic, right?
What's that?
It is pretty organic.
No, it is organic, but I like this because I think I was even afraid to have these conversations with my wife and other people that would say, we're Christian, all that. But like those things are serious turnoffs. And I've heard the justifications and I've heard every angle. But those things really they're going to turn a lot of people. Our souls are connected to every living thing that exists, and everything was such that's why I get bummed out. People say, oh, you're anti, gender. No, I'm not. I'm sad that people don't realize that they were created or designed perfectly, but this world tries to teach them what perfection is, and the world's never going to teach you what perfection is.
Oh, that's good.
Only your heart and your design. And I always say, didn't your parents read to you the story of the ugly duckling? His duck was, but I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Mommy, I don't like the way I look. I don't like my well, you're not, the God ain't done with you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't understand why this thing it looks like I don't like the way it looks. It looks, well, that's because you don't know what it's all about yet. And then he keeps doing it, and he turns it into the most beautiful thing in the world. That is so sad to me when you see we're so disconnected with life's existence, with this incredible design. Like this animal goes to the bathroom to feed this thing, and then this grows. Even our bodies die, and then the worms are in it, and the worms excrete, and we become dirt, and then the plant comes up, and then that feeds the air, and that has been sucked out of our entire lives by whatever this madness is called. Go to school, go to college, go to this, go to that, buy our shirts. Now we're all addicted to it. And the hardest part is unlearning it all. I heard someone once say, maybe it was Dick Gregory, where he's like, he said, God. He said it's such a great, he said, he put you here, you clean. You got to be clean when you go back home. Because when you get here, you get all dirty and this and that. He said you were clean. And when you leave, you better clean up. Clean up before you leave. And I didn't do it justice. But I heard what he meant, and I'm like, oh my God. Yes. Because yeah. I think the good of life and all of it is working. And we got to remember, the more beautiful the light becomes, the angrier their dart gets, and they try to make it much darker. So as someone says, put your armor up. You just got to make sure that armor is on, but not looking for war.
Not looking for war.
Not looking for war. just preventing attack. Just to let them know, like, hey, I will defend.
You know, Jim, I heard a new term from me, and I heard it from your show.
Okay.
If somebody was to ask me what is wedging, I would have said that is when you grab somebody in the back by their underwear and you pull it up and wrap it around their shoulder blades. That guy is wedging, right? But I know
Yes.
from our friend Sib that that's consuming a good big amount at one time. I think is a California term or something. I don't know. I'm still learning. You know, I need to get out more. But you know, one thing I've discovered: you can wedge on God's word, and you can trust Him, and let that change you. You know, the Spirit of
Sure.
God works through His word. So, hey, I'm gonna. I don't know if that's ever been used before. Let's go wedge on God's word. I'm wedging. I want to consume this thing. So, anyway, it's man,
Tom, listen, this was a pleasure. This was I don't think either one of us expected to be talking for almost an hour and the direction we went. But I love these conversations. They're real conversations, and it doesn't stop us from what we do in life, whether it's you with Fruit of the Earth and what that product puts out there, or what you do at your family, or how you spend it. It's these conversations, they always feel good. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. I love that Katie connected us, and so I can say honestly, that aloe stuff, I don't know where you get it, and people could look it up. Yes, that stuff right there
this stuff right here.
saved me and Mike the sound guy. I turned Mike the sound guy onto it, but I look forward to hanging out with you and having that wine, and we have a couple more loud giggles and get into it even further. And I appreciate, listen, you know, you go, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't mean to go this way, but I appreciate you letting me be honest as well. Because some people, you know, like, you see it this way, I see it this way, but we all kind of see the same light. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Well, we are thrilled. I have to. I really truly need to get out more.
Yeah, no, you will. We'll get you out more.
But I mean that you guys are always welcome here down in the Dallas Fort Worth area. We'll do plant tours and get to see how all this wonderful stuff is made, and even more importantly, meet our people. But please tell your bride hello and your family. We love family values. That's who we are, and hope I get to meet you guys in person sometime.
I'm sure you will. Tommy, it was a pleasure. It was such a pleasure. You have a good one. Tommy McCurry Jr., Fruit of the Earth. Later,
Thank
Gator.
you.
This was Who Runs These Companies with Jim Brewer.
You know, the beginning, when we were talking in the beginning, I could tell either if you're nervous or you know, he's used to selling, which is that's what he's trained to do, and that's what people are trained to do when they own a product, and you know, and the sales pitches and all that. And what I'm starting to discover is we all make mistakes. We all try so, but the more real conversations we have, and the more brutally honest conversations, you know, like Tommy, I know some people, they'll say, you know, you got to go through the word, you got to go through you know, through Jesus, you got to go through, and I get that, and I always tell them my view as well. And I think these are really important things to talk about in this time in life. I'm not saying you need to become this or this, but I have my deep concerns on how it's all presented and what everyone should be doing. I think it's the time of walking the walk. If we're here to make life better and help people and enhance their lives, walk the walk. And when you walk the walk, then you can talk the talk. If they ask, hey, what makes you What keeps you so grounded? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you on such a straight edge? What keeps you where you get there? Well, to be honest with you, because I have to say, I saw this thing years ago. Um, it, it, I'll say this, and I'm saying it only because it's the truth. Years and years and years ago, I had a radio show, and on that radio show, Joe Rogan came on as a guest, and he called in. And I remember looking at my friends, and we'd always get excited when Joe came. I think it was like his third time on. He was always just fascinating to listen to, such intensity and truth. And he went on a rant about how the times are changing and how truth is going to be the new way of life. And I'm not saying, hey, we need to pray, but when you hear that was a moment that made me really think, and it gave me hope, and it gave me a lot of things. And the word truth goes on many, many levels, many, many, many levels. Goes through faith, goes through spirit, goes through relationship, it goes through everything. And when I have conversations with Tommy McCurry Jr., he comes on, he wants to sell, he doesn't sell, he's going to talk about Fruit of the Earth, but he's listening to some shows, and he's a faith guy and a family guy and a church guy, Jesus, Bible. I feel like we need to have more conversations like we did today. Honest conversations, and honest, because the more we get labeled, the more they separate us, the more visuals you see, the more we got to start looking way beyond it, and start looking after one another. So I'm really thankful I got to talk with Tommy today. Thank you, Katie, for hooking that up. Katie Smith. Really, really thank you so much for that connection. Thanks for hanging out today. Me and Mike are going to talk about some sketches and putting things together. Go to jimbrewer.com for tour dates, stand-up comedy dates. All right. It's a lot funnier than this. So this is more like the whatever talk side. So I appreciate you. Have a good one. All that jazz. Do I look fat in this? Look at my nipples. Were my nipples hard the whole time?
Is it cold up there, man?
It's a little chilly up here. Did they look like that the whole time? My whole message is thrown out the window because someone might have been looking at my nipples. And that's how it goes.
I'll make sure I point it out during the edit.
Yeah. We'll see you next time in the Bruniverse. Have a good one. If you'd like to check out this episode uncut and uncensored, head on over to my Patreon page at jimbrewer.com/Patreon. This is Jim Brewer, and I got my own Patreon page, and hopefully you'll check it out. Live comedy concert streamed once a month. Weekly, you host your own podcast, and you interview me. Early access to the Bruniverse podcast every single week, and have bonus footage and bonus segments. I promise you I'm not going to let you down. Go check out my official Jim Brewer Patreon page, and I'll see you there. As the great J.B. Smoove once said, he's like, I can eat linguine in public. I can eat linguine. I can eat some damn linguine in public. He's on Howard Stern, and he's like, Howard, you can't eat no damn linguine in public. Howard Stern can't be walking down the street and sitting on the corner, you eating a garlic butter. You can't do that. Too many freaks coming up to you, Howard. JB Smoove can do that. I can do that.